It was the year 2020, the COVID era. My buddies and I lived in California and would drive to Vegas every other weekend to go gamble. We were about 24 at the time and didn't really have a lot of responsibilities. To add some context, my buddy is kind of player and pulls a lot of women, so when we go to Vegas, he always ends up finding one and leaving with them. We share the same room, so he never brings the chick back to our room. So one Vegas weekend, I lost a lot of money and decided to head upstairs and sleep. My buddy lost his room key and woke me out my sleep, so I can open the door for him. I get up half awake and open the door. First I see a woman next to him, but she's in front of the door. I let them both in, without saying a word, and I crawl back into my cover. My first initial thought was he never brings up chicks to our room, but I was so tired I didn't really think too much on it. He asked for the weed. I tell him where it's at, while telling him the chick is staring at me. But I pay her no mind, because I wasn't trying to make things awkward. He finds the weed and they both leave out the room. I end up going back to sleep, so the next morning I wake up and I asked him about the chick he was with last night. He tells me that he lost a lot of money last night and wasn't in a joking mood. I told him I wasn't joking. He told me there was no chick, woman, female, or anybody for that matter. He just went downstairs to the car to go smoke. I started freaking out, telling him I think I seen a ghost. Now before I get into that, my homie isn't the type to lie. Pretty serious dude for the most part and isn't into trolling, so I believed him after the second time he insisted he was by himself. He was baffled by the whole thing, saying she followed me out the room and she was at the door next to me last night. I confirmed yes, but he said he didn't see a lady at all. Now, I never been known to hallucinate. I only smoke weed and I am a veteran, but I never started seeing things that wasn't there. Also, she looked very real. You couldn't tell it was a ghost because she looked like a person. Now the biggest question is, why didn't I say anything to her when she walked in? And I asked myself this all the time. The main reason was I tired and didn't want to converse. I didn't know what to say either, because normally my buddy doesn't bring chicks to our room, and I didn't want to make things awkward. Since my buddy didn't introduce me, I just left it alone. I feel like the world would have ended if I would have spoke to her. She looked Hispanic, in her early 20s. Couple years ago, I told someone else about this story. And they told me that Bali is known for having ghosts at their casino, and also people have died there before from a fire. After realizing I might have seen a real ghost, I'm more lost on how this world works, and I've been trying to get answers. Please, your thoughts. Through these stories of experiences throughout my life, you can imagine that I have grown used to seeing ghosts and entities in random places. I've had ghosts and entities appear randomly in my living room, bedroom, and even the bathroom. Growing up with a strong belief that I was seeing things was hard. However, now that I know I wasn't seeing things, my experiences have taught me more about myself. I've learned that I can help those who want it, and I can't help those who don't. Not all spirits realize that they are dead, and some do. Some who know they are dead like to freak people out by showing themselves how they died, while others are more inclined to show themselves how they were in life. Wyatt has been a great help and a great friend. He has gotten me past so many things, helped me with spirits intent on hurting me. Sure, he has issues and still carries many secrets, but he has been there for me when living humans have not. Living with Wyatt has been an experience in and of itself. He sometimes slips into the vernacular of the time he was alive, and he has also picked up on many of our shorthand phrases. Sometimes he mixes the two, which can make for some confusing conversations. Even in death, he has picked up some modern habits. There have been times when I'll see him walking around, barefoot and out of uniform. I think the oddest thing that he has done is to lie down next to me and just talk. Then there's Thomas. He, unlike his brother, doesn't approve of the way that people talk to one another. You won't find him in any state of undress, and he is very proper. He has attached himself to my mother-in-law and is very protective of her. I think she reminds him of his own mother, because even Wyatt treats her with the utmost respect. I know they have both followed her to work, though Thomas has become more prone to it now than Wyatt. When she is home, he stands so that he can come between her and anything that may harm her. He gets frustrated when he can't help alleviate her stress, take worries off her shoulders, or really help in any way. Then you have young Anna. She is prone to pranks and likes to scare my husband, though lately she has calmed down some. I think having both Wyatt and Thomas here has made her behave more like she would have in life. Young Charlie refuses to interact with anyone but Thomas and Anna. The indigenous young man rarely leaves my mother-in-law's room, preferring to keep an eye out her window at all times. Most of the time you wouldn't know that there are spirits in the house unless you are looking for them. Even the pets that pop in from time to time, you are more likely to see a shadow move than to see the actual spirit itself, unless they want you to. Living with them means having their presence around at all times and knowing that they aren't very far away. They make small sounds or even big ones. They will move things or hide them if they get bored. They will mimic our voices, making us think one of the others is talking to or calling for us. But they're my ghosts, and I'm happy to keep them around for as long as they like. When I was a child, maybe 7 to 8 years old, we lived in the house where my grandmother died. It was a big old rambling farmhouse. There was a top floor, but most of the rooms were for playing or storing. My older sister and I had our bedroom up there. My grandmother died suddenly when I was 9 weeks old. We lived about an hour away. My grandmother had not seen me or held me yet, so mother, daddy, my older sister, and I went on a Sunday to visit with her. My mother was her firstborn. Mama Esta picked me up right away and told my mother, "This is going to be my special girl." The very next Friday, we were making plans to see her on Sunday because it was Mother's Day. She was only 45 years old and the only daughter out of 5 boys. She was in bed because she wasn't feeling well and complaining of a bad headache and double vision. She asked my grandfather to get her a pencil and a piece of paper so she could make him a list for the grocery store. Because all her children and grandchildren would be up the next day, and she wanted to cook dinner for everyone. When he came back a few minutes later, she had passed away. There was no autopsy, but the doctor said it was most likely a ruptured aneurysm of the brain. I say all this backstory to say, one night when I was 6 or 7, my sister and I were asleep, and I for some reason woke up. My grandmother was standing by my bed just looking at us. She had a smile on her face. For some reason, I was not afraid. I knew she was just checking on us and wanting to see me as I had grown. I told my mother the next morning, but of course, she said I was dreaming. It took me 55 years to convince her that I had seen Mama Esta. It was a comforting feeling. When I was 14, 4 friends and I made a plan to tell our parents. We were staying at each other's houses, but actually spend the night walking around exploring places instead. This went to plan until about midnight when it started raining heavily. Too scared to go home, we ended up climbing over the locked graveyard gates, as there was a covered wooden seating shelter in there. The 5 of us got in our sleeping bags and sat in a row on one of the benches. Surprisingly, we all seemed to fall asleep really quickly. I woke up suddenly after a couple of hours and all my friends were still sleeping. Around 3 to 4 meters in front of the shelter, I saw half of torso of a male figure with no bottom half visible. He appeared to be bald, but his face was unclear. He seemed to be moving as if he was sweeping or digging and had a blue glow to him. I didn't feel afraid of it or him, but I was completely transfixed on him. He seemed to be on a loop and there was no noise coming from him. After a while of staring at him, I noticed, further in the distance, a young girl with the same blue glow, skipping around a tree. Again, she seemed to be on a loop, just going around the tree over and over again, occasionally bending over as if to pick something up. Both seemed to be just going about their business, completely unaware of each other or us. It was like it was something being replayed. It wasn't a scary experience. If anything, it was kind of calming. I was 100% awake throughout, but did drift back off to sleep again after a while. I'm 41 now, and I still think about this often. So I'm from India, and my grandma once told me this story that still freaks me out. Back in the mid-1900s, my grandma used to live in a huge ancestral home in Tamil Nadu. People generally lived in these massive joint family homes, like 15 people under one roof. The kind of old-school houses with tiled roofs, an open courtyard in the middle, and doors with those little gaps at the bottom to let air through. As a cultural thing, all the women in the family wore anklets that made this soft gingling sound when they walked. It's important for this story. Anyway, my grandma was around 15 at the time. One night, she and her siblings were getting ready to sleep when they heard the sound of anklets outside their room. They thought it was their mom or aunt checking something, so my grandma went to look, but the corridor was completely empty. She just figured they went back to bed. A while later, she heard it again. This time it stopped right outside their door. She bent down to peek through the gap under the door, but there was nobody there. She got scared and woke her sister up. Her sister was the brave one. She just opened the door to check. Nothing. Empty hallway. They shut the door, tried to sleep again, and then the sound came back, slower and closer. Both of them froze. They decided to look under the door one more time, and this time, they saw someone staring back at them. They screamed so loud that the whole house woke up. Their parents came running, and what's weird is they actually believed them. In those days, people were big on spirits and omens. The next morning, their father planted a neem tree outside the house because it's supposed to ward off evil. My grandma told me this story when I was a kid, and it gave me nightmares for days. She's in heaven now watching over me and keeping all the evil spirits away.